Hi loves, welcome to today's studio session. And before I get started to paint these lovely grapefruits, I would like to share with you some exciting news. Watercolor has become such an important part of my creative life, and I've been dreaming about selling my original art for a very long time. I love the idea that something painted here in my home studio in Ukraine could eventually end up in someone's kitchen or cozy cafe corner. That thought feels very special to me. So here's my collection of 10 paintings that I've been prepared in order to start selling my original art. The main idea of this collection is simple everyday food, something that takes part in our everyday life and something that we don't have time to appreciate. I have three various sizes of paintings in this collection. Some of them have more simple backgrounds and details, and some of them are more detailed. I've used granulating colors on some of the simple backgrounds and I love the effect so much. Main textures of this collection are wood and linen cloth. I think they create amazing rustic and cozy feel. But look at this plain background. The color is enough to complement the golden crust of the croissants. And here at this delicious pastry, I have a coziness combo, wood and linen cloth. I like how it looks very appetizing and cozy at the same time. And here are the sunny apricots. The same thing with wood and cloth, and look how lovely and cozy the scene looks. I really love how colors of apricot are turned out and the texture of the wood. And the final piece for today is the golden toast with the fried egg. Here I concentrated on the details on the food itself, but the background remains simple. But nevertheless I wanted to make it more interesting and added a granulating color to the background. I used professional light-fast watercolors and a 100% watercolor paper. All of the information about the paintings, their size and prices are available on my Instagram page in highlights. And now, as I made it in this video, two paintings are already sold, so in the highlights you can see the available originals and already sold pieces. If you liked a painting and want to give it a new home, then hit me a DM in the Instagram. I'll leave the link to my page in the description to this video. And now let's create a vibrant and juicy painting that also will be available for purchase. This time I wanted to create something really bright and joyful. And I thought that the citrus fruit is a perfect candidate for today's topic. And grapefruit specifically has those amazing color combinations of yellow, orange and red. This is something that screams bright. Plus, all of those contrast and juicy citrus segments help to make this painting super appetizing. And to support the whole idea of a vibrant piece, I've decided to make an orange background as well. Besides the bright colors, grapefruits also have various textures that I like so much. First of all, its peel, the outer harder and the inner soft and almost white. And that's exactly what I'm working on now. And of course, the cherry on top of the textures in this art is the flesh and the segments. They have more color variation and more textures and highlights in this piece, and so they become the main focal point. As usually with the watercolor, I like to work from light to dark. And now I am making the base layer of the whole painting. I've already added some details on the peel, but this is still the base layer. From far away, a grapefruit looks red, but it's actually full of different colors. These are oranges, cool reds, warm yellows, and deep burgundy tones. And I ended up mixing all of those different shades with only three colors: yellow, warm red, and a cool red. Just varying the ratio of these paints, I've made more yellowy orange on the lighter areas and more cool red on the darker zones. It was a surprise for me how dark segment areas can be in a grapefruit. But in this painting I'm building volume gradually. So now the segments, my favorite part, is getting its base layer as well. Using method wet on wet, I am adding some color accents of yellow-orangey color. This is for adding that color variation. And now I am adding that main red shade. The logic is simple. The lighter area, the more warm and more yellowy I make the color. The darker the segments, the cooler red I am adding. Now there is no cool red yet because I am establishing the light and the mid-tone colors. Picking some paint with my clean brush to separate those segments a little bit. The funny thing is that you don't need to make super separated and visible segments. Just make those hints and your brain will do the work. Now at this stage I can see that I've started to add cool reds into the base layer. And I love how the temperature contrast between warm and cool colors make the shades pop. So with this base layer, I am mostly painting light, not details. I am showing where the light, mid-tone and dark areas of my objects are. Keep defining the segments with my clean damp brush. I love how versatile watercolors are. You can use so many techniques in your artwork. Now I'm working in the central areas of the grapefruits and I try not to overwork this area. The base layer of the slices is already looking pretty nice. But now I want to leave this area fully dry before adding details. And now I want to work on my background. Grabbing my mop brush that holds a lot of water and I am wetting all of the background area. Now when you want to paint something really vibrant and contrast, you'd use the complementary colors, the colors that are opposite on the color wheel. For the orange color, it is blue, so if I needed something very contrast, I should have used a blue for my background. And this is a great method, but I've picked another way. If I need to make a wow effect on my painting, I can use several methods, one of which is contrast that I've just told you about, and another one is I'm using here. I am using the same and harmonious colors, but I add them a lot. And the beast becomes very bright and screams, "Look at me, look at me." And this is the exact effect I was going for in this piece. Now my grapefruit's base layer is fully dry and I am working on those details. I am working with a thin and snappy brush for details and it helps me to make those curvy lines. I am leaving out the lighter areas and adding mid-tone and deep dark burgundy colors. Now this was quite a surprise to me that the grapefruit has so many dark and deep areas in the flesh. And not forgetting about the temperature contrast, I am making the darker areas not only deeper in tone but also cooler in temperature. And one interesting thing I've noticed while working on this stage of the painting. Those textures are very similar and I needed to cover a pretty big amount with this texture. And old me would think that this is so not interesting and even boring. But new me realized that this is actually kinda fun and I am not only doing the same thing, I am also varying my textures and varying the colors, some are warmer and some are cooler. And this turned out much more pleasant experience than I would have thought. And I think from now on, I can expect the urge to paint more citrus fruit in the future. And they are not only interesting to paint, but they also give that bright and joyful mood when you look at them. And painting such simple and everyday objects gives me the opportunity to appreciate them. At this stage, I am finishing my textures and start to add more darker volume. To give that rich dark and burgundy color of the flesh, I am mixing dark cool red color. I am not trying to add the deepest colors in every segment. I look at my reference pictures closely and see that the darkest areas are only in some areas, and this what makes a beautiful contrast. This happens because you have some areas of the tension and some areas where your sight can relax. If you have only vibrant or only dark areas in your painting, your brain will soon get tired of watching on it and will find the painting unattractive. I am actually on the edge here with a super strong contrast and super vibrant colors, but this is my artistic choice for this painting. And the same goes for the opposite. If your painting is lacking contrast, temperature, or volume contrast, the brain will lose the interest in the artwork very soon and will think that this is boring. So the painting that you like to look at is the combination of your knowledge and your artistic choices. So at this stage of the painting, I am adding the details on the peel, adding shadows, and now I am adding the cast shadow from my objects. I want to make my grapefruit super glossy and shiny, and for this I need to have the harsh light on my composition. And because of that light condition, I have a pretty strong cast shadow. And also, thanks to the light situation, I have a very glossy flash. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I am adding super glossy highlights with my white gouache. I am adding those highlights not only onto the segments, but I also add a couple of touches on the peel and also defining some of the borders of the segments. I use a professional and light fast titanium white gouache, and this is an archival method to add highlights on top of the watercolor. I think this is crazy work to go over all of those highlights in the beginning of the work. And yes, there is a drawing gum when you can cover your highlights before you start painting. But I used to work in a similar method with my alcohol markers. I don't see anything wrong about that, and this is once again my artistic choice. And maybe this is a part of my personal style. And now you can see one of my favorite parts, adding the final stroke to the painting. Before I remove my masking tape, I let my painting fully dry in order to watercolor paper not to buckle. And here it is finished. I really love the color combination here, the light and dark contrast, and the temperature contrast. Plus, look at how beautifully the paper texture shows through the background color. I love various textures, what can I do? Thank you so much for spending this time with me and making this painting from start to finish. Don't forget to check out my original paintings on my Instagram page. Thank you so much for watching and bye for now!